Hello there, I am Jose from Anxiety, and these are the five most influential bands to me. The five most influential bands to me. Now, this one might be a bit of a surprise to, the folk that don't know us or folk that are from other countries just watching the videos, which I have noticed on the analytics. And so the band most influential to me is a band called All Time Low. This album in particular is what got me into music. Made me want to play in a band. Maybe just want to play on stage in general. And yeah, I got into All Time Low when I was about 4, and I still love them. And the band that got me into punk rock, which might seem a bit obvious because of the biggest punk rock band ever, is the Sex Pistols. Um, the Sex Pistols changed. I would say they changed me as a person. Um, I used to really care what folk thought about me. Used to get upset when folk didn't like me. But then I saw these guys deliberately trying to trying to wind folk up, and just didn't care what folk thought about them. Just deliberately trying to upset everyone. I was like, oh, I can, you can do that. So yeah, that's why I love Sex Pistols. And I'd say the third band actually. I don't have any CDs because I can't find them anywhere. But they're a band from Glasgow called the Guillotines. They're my favourite Scottish band of all time. They formed 5 years ago. Um, and the reason I love them so much is because as a vocalist, I was trying to be as un-Scottish as I can, and like listening to the Guillotines, John Clark in particular, he's a great vocalist and a great guitar player. But his shouting vocals were very, very Scottish. And I was just trying to be like a sneery vocalist, but when I listened to that, I was like, oh, I could do that actually. That may be better for my voice, and it is to this day. I'm a shouty punk vocalist. That's just how I like it, and yeah, that's why I love the Guillotines so much. And now this third band, it was probably this is the second band in this list that I listened to first. Like, obviously, I got into All Time Low when I was like 4. I got into the Sex Pistols. Got into these guys when I was like got into Sex Pistols when I was like 12, I think maybe. But this band Rancid, I'd first listened to them when I was I think 8 maybe. Um, because the song the 11th Hour, that was in a little game called WWE 2K19, and that song, I love that song. The soundtrack on that game is brilliant. They had Rancid, they had Slipknot, they had Eminem, Post Malone, Metallica. That soundtrack is one of the best WWE soundtracks ever. And speaking of wrestling, there was a wrestler called Ruby Soho, and her theme tune was Ruby Soho by Rancid, formerly known as Ruby Riot. Went on a podcast with Lars Fredrickson, and he said to her that she could use a name, and she went absolutely. So, and then I really got into them like around about spring this year, and because the 11th hour just came on Google one day, and I just sang along to every word, even though I'd only heard it in that one game. And then that's when I really, really got into Rancid. Now, this last band uh, is Ashton's already mentioned this band, this album in particular, actually. Descendents. Everything sucks. This was not the first Descendents album I heard. The first one was Milo Goes to College. I heard that when I was in S1, I think maybe, and yeah, I'm in S3 now. I heard Milo Goes to College in S1 because folk called it the best pop punk album ever, and I still am a massive pop punk fan. I saw some for one in October, and when I heard the Descendants, I was like, wow, this this is good, because that was the first kind of. I think it was the first hardcore band I ever listened to like properly. Um, because when I was into wrestling, I got into X because of a Wild Thing because it was John Moxley's theme tune, and yeah, I got into Rancid, got into X, I got into Fozzy because my dad put that on in the car and it was just like, here's Chris Jericho's band. Um, but yeah, wrestling's a great way to get into music, and I actually lost track of what I was even talking about in the first place. But yeah, Descendents, the first hardcore band I ever listened to like properly, and then when I got into Rancid and I started listening to all the California bands like Bad Religion, Pennywise, NoFX, Me First and Gimme Gimmes, I started listening to Descendants properly. Like Miller Goes to College, Everything Sucks, like I Don't Want to Grow Up, all, and the band themselves, all, and there's a great band, and I absolutely love the Descendants because they were the first punk band that were trying to be catchy, and all the bands I listened to up until actually Rancid as well. Rancid were, and I forgot to say, the Guillotines were the ones that got. I don't know if I said this, but the Guillotines got me into ska, and Rancid also ska punk. The Saints didn't do any ska. Um, but yeah, when I got into Rancid, that's what got me into the Saints and all the other great California bands. But when I got into the Saints, um, I mean, Rancid are very catchy because of the ska elements because of Operation Ivy. But when I got into the Descendants, it was like another level of catchy, and that's one of the reasons I love the Descendants, and just Stephen Edgerton as a guitar player, and Milo as a vocalist, and Bill as a drummer, and Carl as a bassist. I feel like every lineup the Descendants has ever had is absolutely great. But yeah, that's been the five most influential bands to me. Um, yeah, like I said, we're not. I don't know if I said this actually, but we're not. We didn't do a video this not last Thursday because we didn't really feel like doing a video, but we got I think maybe 3 or 4 songs done, and I showed Ashton a song as well. So so yeah, um, Ashton's video will be released Wednesday this week. Well, I mean, I'm telling you this now, but it's already going to be released when my video's out. But Ashton's video, it will be released Wednesday this week at 12:30, and Men will be the next stage is at 12:30, Thursday 12:30. So yeah, I'm Jose from Anxiety, and those are the 5 most influential bands to me. Um, Not at all in order of my favourite. Right, bye bye now.